I'm being trafficked. Me and my son are still in danger, and I'm doing a video on it. So anyway, here we go. Post for the evening. My last post for the evening. So when they enter you in this kind of estate robbery, you got to remember, I'm guardian of my son, and they tried to do this in December, right? And so they've got a false probate and conservatorship case going, and I have no idea this is going on. And it was to steal my trust fund and the entire estate. So Amanda Lancaster at Turnagain Law, where my trust fund's at, she's also my husband's divorce attorney. Ask how that works out. That's why he filed suit in his non-legal name. So she sends me a writ, and she's saying, I'm taking your rental cabins, both your vehicles, your hot tub, and your house and your land. Okay, that's what she says, right? And I have a friend, again, Dave, come on, and he goes, she's not serving your writs by legal process. She has to serve them by certified restricted mail and registered process server. And she goes out of her way to not do that, right? She will not do that, because they've already got a false conservatorship and guardianship over me, and I don't have any idea. And that's why she can't serve me any writs by legal process. They stole my trust fund, and then Kevin filed suit in his non-legal name, and now they were coming to get me. They got to erase my identity because they stole my identity. They showed up at my mother's probate court, and that's why they named me in here a non-legal name, Kim Alfonsi. So my attorney, Ken Goldman, and Kevin Alfonsi LG showed up, stole my trust fund she gave me, okay? And now they were coming to get me with falsified guardianship and conservatorship documents. And she would acknowledge the P.O. box, but she would never acknowledge the property in Alaska. She would on one document, but then she'd never serve it. So she kind of goes back and forth. But the fact is, she'd never serve anything by legal process. And I get a hold of the police, because all of a sudden I can feel an entire abduction coming, right? The big white van pulling up. I'm 65. I was 64 at the time. And they were going to say, hey, you and William need to hop into this van, and it was around December, right? I don't think I was supposed to return, because she asked I get life insurance in my son's guardianship case, right? So this is a human trafficking, kidnapping, and I believe it is a murder. It is a premeditated murder. So anyway, now, you can't just say that, right? So anyway, she said for the $39,000 judgment I owed, they will never record it on the court docket. And they're acting like, oh, well, it's just court view. But if you go to any system and you type, how do I find out Alaska's court records? How do I find out if I have a judgment? It says you need to use the digital court record of Alaska court view. So, in one hand, they diss it and say, it didn't mean anything. It doesn't mean nothing. It's just court view. You don't have to record judgments on court view. It's just court view. Because they never entered a judgment against me for the judgment and the amended judgment, or anything, right? And so anyway, and there's no certificates of distribution. The case went through the Supreme Court. In 2017, had its final judgment. And we'll just continue on. Issued in 2018. They dragged me back to court in 2021, right? Because they had a false conservatorship, and they needed to get a false conservatorship and guardianship over me to steal this trust fund, right? And two-handed, Ken Goldman handed it off to Turnagain Law. I don't know any of this is going on. All I know is this woman at Turnagain Law will not serve me writs by registered process server. She will not do it. Well, she can't, because she has me as a client of hers that's mentally incapacitated, and I believe my diagnosis given by them is schizophrenia, right? So anyway, that's what I believe. Now, these liens, if you read them, they don't make any sense, because me and Kevin are in a divorce case, and he's, of course, using his non-legal name. And so when you read this lien, it makes no sense because I'm the opposing party. What you would do is you would motion the court for attorney liens, not put a lien against them as if you worked for them. But if this person, Kim LG, also known as Kim Alfonsi, and Kim LG Alfonsi was a client of yours, right? And you had a false guardianship and conservatorship over her, then you would do a lien like this. And that's why it says they're serving it, saying they did work for me and for Kevin. And they're sending it to the trust where Amanda Lancaster's at, that was serving, would not serve me the writs, that has guardianship and conservatorship over me. So let's just look at it like that. Let's pretend this doesn't have it, because that's what they were going to do after this case was over.
After I was kidnapped.
Ignore everything at the top of this, and they were just going to submit this for payment. That's it.
They're going to submit it to the trust for payment.
That was all they were going to do. So notice of attorney lien. This is notice pursuant to AS 34.35430 that the law office of Blake Fulton Quackenbush has an attorney lien for compensation in the amount of $42,086.29 upon the papers, trust fund papers of Kevin Alfonsi, upon money in the possession of counsel belonging to Kevin Alfonsi, upon money in the possession of Kim LG, right? And upon a judgment in the above captioned case. I'm in this case. I'm the opposing party. They would motion. They wouldn't be leaning me as if I was a client, past client of theirs. They're leaning me as if I'm a past client of theirs. And they're sending it to who? They're sending it to my guardian and conservator. That's
and trust. What they're doing. Yeah, trustee.
So that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and then it's to Kim LG. So they'll send it to my P.O. box. But they're not going to send anything by certified restricted mail. Amanda won't let them do that. No. So anyway, and then it just says, attention, Kevin Alfonsi at Turnagain Law, and then gives their address. Okay, this lien makes no sense. If it was truly a case for divorce, it doesn't make any sense. You would motion the other party for attorney fees. You wouldn't lien them as if you worked for them, and that's what they were doing. They were leaning me as if they worked for me, because they got a false guardianship and conservatorship on me. That's why she can't serve those writs. So then they do the same thing in my son's guardianship case. They took me, Amanda Lancaster and Kevin, took me to court to take guardianship away from me of William. Why are they billing me in this notice of attorney lien as if they worked for me? Why? Because they know there's a false probate case Amanda and both Samantha worked on together, deeming me mentally incompetent in 2021 when they got a hold of that false death certificate found in the Arizona system. And that's what they used and created to have a second probate action to deem me mentally incompetent. Why the hell would an attorney send this to another attorney, knowing I'm the opposing party? I was guardian. They sued me for guardianship. I won guardianship. Why is my damn name on this notice of attorney lien?
They're billing a trust.
They are billing for Kevin's attorney fees, actually mine.
Yeah.
In this specific case. And they're also regenerating liens, which is also against the law. But anyway, notice of attorney lien. This is notice pursuant to AS 34.35.430 that the law offices of Blake Fulton Quackenbush has an attorney lien for compensation in the same exact amount as the divorce one, amount for $42,086.29 upon the papers of Kevin Alfonsi, upon money in the possession of counsel. So they're telling Turnagain Law, you got the money in possession of counsel belonging to Kevin Alfonsi, and upon money in the possession of Kim LG. Because they've got me deemed mentally incompetent.
And they stole my trust fund.
Sit there with hold my hands with Amanda. Yeah. Drooling on a napkin. Yeah. So anyway, that's how they have it. And upon a judgment in the above captioned case. Okay, so dated this 13th day of December 23rd.
It's 2023.
And so anyway, they send that, right? Okay, so it's just showing
the 13th day of December 2023.
You read up here, it's confusing. But, you know, I mean, I am guardian. I was thinking it was a divorce case. I am guardian. They sued me for guardianship. Why would I?
I
own
won
Kevin's attorney
guardianship.
fees? Because
Why am I
on
being
this
billed?
part, I'm incapacitated and in care of Turnagain Law with a conservatorship and guardianship over my
That's
damn
exactly what's going
Right?
on.
Okay. They were just planning on showing up and kidnapping my ass, is what they were doing.
Yep.
And so, there again, you know.
They still plan on it. Yeah, we're living in fear. Yeah,
This one's for
definitely.
the guardianship case. The other one's for the divorce case. Same exact manufactured lien, and for each case, but with the same wording. They just regenerated a lien. That's all this is. It's totally against the law. Just lien, not to mention the kidnapping and everything else that they were planning on doing. So anyway, now they were going for the pension, right? And there is Turnagain Law, and then that is Amanda. So they were getting down. You do
Cleaning house. They were
pensions.
cleaning
So
house.
You would do another QD or R order, and you would have a qualified domestics relations order, and it would be sent to an actuary. And she is saying that Mr. Alfonsi's come up with a value of his pension. This is not what you do. But they're doing an entire estate robbery,
Transfer.
tidying everything up before they kidnap me at the house, right?
Yep.
And so anyway, that's what they're doing. Yeah. So Amanda works at Turnagain Law, where those liens are. And so she is Kevin's attorney, and she's also my phony ass conservator and guardian.
And trustee at the firm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, all three.
That's a big secret. And I don't find out till and that's why she's saying, I'd be screaming saying, you can't take my house and my land and my 2 cabin rentals and both my vehicles and everything,
And my
for
home.
a $39,000
And my home.
judgment. And she'd be going, oh, well, we don't have just a judgment, Miss Algie. We got a guardianship and conservatorship over your ass, and we're killing you.
Yep.
'Cause
They're
that's
going to
what
kill
we're
me.
gonna do to you, Kim Algie.
They're gonna
We're
kill me.
Kill you.
Yeah.
You first, baby.
That's right.
You 1st
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, and that's dated what? 1/31/25. So that was their, current intention was to show up. That's why I wrote that police officer and said, hey, this is right at the end after he writes his letter to me and said validates Kevin used a false name to file for divorce. His real name is Kevin Alfonsi Elgie, and he hid it all the way through divorce. I don't say, hey, they stole my identity too. They named me Kim Elgie Alfonsi and Kim Alfonsi, and they plan on killing me. So anyway, I forget that part. But anyway, the police stopped the writs, and they, because I said he didn't serve me these writs by legal process. And so they stop it, and that was notice of termination of writs. And this is after the police stop them on 3/18. So almost a month before this, 3/18/25, the police say, we will not serve any writs at this time in this case, which
I tell them that Kevin has hidden his California jurisdiction and his legal name from court. And so then the police look it up. Sure enough, they see it. So they immediately stop it. Well, then they get orders from above to ignore it.
still sitting on the sidelines, trust me, because Judge
Yeah,
Cagle
they're still sitting on the
filed
sidelines waiting to
something on
abduct me.
6/18/25. Basically, everybody were going ahead with the project.
It wasn't 6/18. Judge Cagle sent out more orders on 9/18/2025. So there's still plan on proceeding with my abduction.
Which is abducting Kim Elgie at her house with falsified guardianship and conservatorship papers, that's what it is. So anyway, they did a notice of termination of writs. The police officers went in and they looked, they verified Kevin's name, said, yeah, he's got a hyphenated name. Well, that was something the court was hiding all the way through the court.
Yep.
Because he was just stealing my identity,
Trust
and
fund.
my entire estate.
Yeah,
and
entire estate.
They were gonna kill me.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably try to harvest Earth Angel organs or something. So yeah, there's a lot of sick, whatever they call it,
Divination.
Yeah.
Amen,
So,
man. Yeah. Sick.
You got some high wizard looking at me now.
They do.
Going, what is
They
it?
do. He better not
You should
touch
probably
me,
stay away
man.
from it, Mr. Wizard.
It's a boomerang, Mr. Wizard. It's a boomerang. It's God-given gift,
God
a
doesn't
boomerang
like you touching
activity.
me. Yeah, I know you're powerful and everything, but it might hurt you. It might hurt you.
The boomerangs.
So anyway,
the boomerangs.
Right there, they're saying notice of termination of writs. Well, they can't even serve them to me legally because they've stolen my identification, have me living in a different state, and that was exactly
I don't think
why
they
she
have
couldn't
me
serve
living
them.
at a
Had she
different
served
state.
them to
Now,
me
they did it
legally,
first.
I would have responded to them. But
I think they have me living locally in an institution, my false identity.
not one writ they have on the court docket was ever legally served to me. Not one. Even the one at Durham was handed to me. It was never served to me. So if you go to that court case and you look in it, not one of those writs they show is recorded was ever legally served to me. So then it just says, you are hereby notified that a writ of execution dated 8/24/22. You can imagine how many years later, and they're talking about writs in 2022, and a writ of execution for garnishment of earnings dated 8/24/22 are terminated for the following reason. And it says collection has been stayed by order dated April 14th, 2025 until further orders of the court.
They plan on continuing to abduct me,
dismissed.
everybody.
Because they're thinking of a new plan. Because everybody stole a trust fund. And they were doing an entire estate robbery with a man using fraudulent identification. And the last act was to kidnap me from my home. You live with that kind of crap, right? Why else wouldn't she serve any of the writs shown on the court docket to me? Why?
What did the police say that
So,
what did the police see that made them stop those writs? What did the police see? And then what? They get a phone call saying, hey, ma'am, this girl's wealthy and she needs to be eliminated. We don't like her anyway. She's female and she talks back.
That's what happened. And then, like I said, they sent out another court order last week. I already told them the case went through the Supreme Court in 2018. And it had final judgment on, went through the Supreme Court in 2017. Kevin filed it, had final judgment on December 5th, 2018. Kevin Alfonsi versus Kim LG. And the only reason they took me back to court was to give me a judgment to continue to rob that trust fund, drag me through litigation so they could have a secret probate case, deem me mentally incompetent, and then eventually show up at the house and kidnap me. Kidnapping has no statute of limitations.
No, it doesn't.
They need to give me my crap back. That's what they need to do. I didn't have it in the first place. I've
never seen my trust fund.
The spirits, by God, and everybody that they had heisted a trust fund and that they would kill me over it. And he's not fond of that crap when it comes to me. I'll tell you that.
Nope.
And you can almost see how vicious he is about it. I guess you have to F around to find out is the thing, I guess. So anyway, I am what I am. He says, be proud of that. You are what you are. So
That's the Supreme Court case right there.
it was on when the police stopped the writ right here. That was it. 3/19/2025 accounting deficiency notice. We are returning your writs of assistance. There is no authority to issue a writ of assistance at the time in this case. And, not to mention, it's outside of Kevin's California jurisdiction.
Yeah, he's been hiding that.
Because the man hid his legal name from all the way through court, which is perjury. But they have to recognize it. A law is only going to be enforced if a court recognizes it. And then they did that full return. They did she has full return of service of writs of execution. So they did those, but it is that this one is dated 4/14/25. Yeah, okay. Order referring motion and other master motion. The court stopped stealing the trust fund. creditor's affidavit and request, it doesn't show, okay, notice of termination, there it is, of writs of execution. You know, it's kind of, you know, that the court had to do that because this isn't simple. They were going to kidnap me.
Yeah.
And like I said, kidnapping has no statute of limitations. Hand my trust fund over to me. So, you know, and all of the documents, you know, that's what you need to do. You know, that's what you need to do. So, yeah, as you can see, that's what the officers did. And then did the officer say that I wasn't stolen from? You know, no, he said that I was stolen from. But
He calls it a loss instead of a theft.
Money loss instead of
a theft.
You know, he calls it a money loss. So, okay, we have to do a quick look. Elects to lock up all the time. Okay, and then we'll just read it again. I'll have this memorized someday. Good afternoon, Kim. I was asked to assist Officer Giebert with going through all the documents you have provided. I have gone through all of the documents carefully. I have not identified anything that would be able to be charged under perjury, Alaska statutes. I understand that there are many discrepancies in which name he used on multiple documents, but with his hyphenated name, and this officer doesn't know.
They were hiding
to
that.
hide that.
Yeah.
But with his hyphenated name and his using one of his names, none of those would meet the criminal level perjury. I know there are a lot of other items you point out in the documentation, and I have looked at them. I sent him proof of their trust fund robbery. Unfortunately, we will be unable to assist with any criminal investigation in this situation. I do encourage you to get a trusted lawyer. A lawyer is what stole my trust fund, and then it got handed to Lancaster and those guys, and they were going for my estate. To get a trusted lawyer and have them assist with any of the civil side for all the monetary loss you have incurred. It's much more than monetary loss. It's peace of mind. It's being in America where my rights are protected just as much as any other.
They're not. They are
citizen's
not.
rights.
I got
And they're
gang
not.
stalked by government
And
officials
this
for a big,
is-
huge trust fund.
You're seeing just what happened in Nazi Germany, and you're seeing a government being created to attack people for their wealth. So I am sorry. I'm sure this is not what you wanted to receive, and I wish you the best of luck in your pursuit of a fair outcome. So he doesn't say that I'm crazy. He says Kevin used his non-legal name. He doesn't say any of that stuff. He just says, yeah, I see you're stolen from, but we're going to call it a loss. It's much more than that. They planned on kidnapping me and trafficking
They still do
trafficking
plan
me
on it.
into a grave. And that's why they ask in my son's guardianship case, I get life insurance. And that's right after they acquired that trust fund illegally. So you tell me what they were going to do.
Yeah. They were gonna off me is what they were gonna do. So anyway, my trust fund first goes to my divorce attorney, but I don't know I'm in a fake divorce, and it shows up and they're billing it right in December. They're gonna start billing it January of 2016. And he's just, I have Kim, you want a calendar for a trust payment. I just find this document a few weeks ago, right? And it says that at Ken Goldman's office, my attorney, they're billing the trust. I have no idea in 2015 they acquired my trust fund. I have no idea. I ended up being led, you know, I get guided by spirits, God, everything, to see when they originally obtained it, right? At Ken Goldman's office, my attorney for my fake divorce. Okay, so then he was hiding that name all the way through court, you know, and he used his hyphenated name. Now, what I tell the police is I say, hey, you know, so he writes me his letter up here saying that, you know, he hopes I can find legal help. But I write him back immediately and I say, hey, it's an identity fraud case that the trust fund happens to be a part of. That is why what truly needs to be reported, it's identity theft and fraud. Help me! Help me! And I have given you documents of proof. That is why they will not serve any writs by registered process server or by certified restricted mail. This is why they didn't even serve divorce papers required with a complaint by legal service. You know, so I'm telling them, help me, man, help me. They stole my identity. You know, they're trying to abduct me. So anyway, I get led to see the trust fund on the court docket. I don't know if am I in the right one? And this person will not serve me writs. She'll do everything but serve him by legal process. And that's what the police saw. You know, and she actually sends it on 12/6/2024. You know, and she's saying, you know, you've got an amended judgment. They'll never record these in the court docket because they know the case went through the Supreme Court, and I don't really have a judgment. But they need it for the full estate robbery. And so anyway, she's doing this. Yeah, not very good. It's kind of like that's the most crappy as writing that you've ever seen. So anyway, she sends this to me, and you know, she's saying, you know, we're going to take away your 2 cabin rentals, your vehicles, your hot tub. They're basically, and we're taking your home and land for this $39,000 judgment she puts on here, which wouldn't be true. No exemptions for this property, no exceptions. So why wouldn't my home and land? It would. In a real divorce case, yeah, it would have exemptions, you know, and they would, if it was legal, they take it to auction. And they would take their $39,000 and give me the rest of the money for my house. But they don't plan on it because they got a false conservatorship, guardianship, and life insurance policies on me. So they're going to kill me, take my entire estate. Now they got my trust fund and my entire estate. And this case isn't over. They still plan on doing their nasty ass crime. So that's what they plan on still doing. Okay, so anyway, and that is the name that he hid all the way through court. He filed for divorce on 10/6/2015 and swore he never used this name legal on any document. No, he never did. Because he's a lying con man. And yeah, family helped him do this. You know, people that didn't know me, they didn't know that, you know, I wasn't stupid. That's for sure. They all thought I was stupid. So anyway, we won't even go into that. They are what they are. So anyway, my trust fund, it's not in this one. What is that? So yeah, there's her. She's excited, man, because they stole my trust fund. Now they're stealing my whole estate and my home and my land, and they're going to make me disappear. They get to kill me, and they get to get life insurance. These guys are excited. Right? Really excited. Okay. So what's been hidden? Okay. So I get led to the court docket to see where the hell is it? Oh, that's Court of Appeals. Sorry about that. Okay. Where's the trust fund? Right there. Okay. Trust writs of garnishment in the divorce case. And they try to say it's a wage garnishment disbursement, but I haven't worked. And who is it that's holding it? Turnigan Law. What you see right here is she's making a payment from my conservator and guardianship account towards this fake-ass judgment for 11901. Down here, it says a wage garnishment, but I haven't worked for years. And so, but really, what is it? It's a trust writ of garnishment. And this is exactly what my mother leads me to. And yes, she is dead. And we have that gift. It only comes out on a need-to-know basis. So anyway, they don't talk to me all day. Not unless they want to bug me about finding, you know, my stolen trust fund. So then my mother's deceased, says, go look at that lawsuit case where Ken Goldman sues you. Because he recorded things in the court docket after you left that case, Kim. Because he has the trust fund at this date, and he's just about ready to turn it over to Amanda Lancaster. Yeah, And that's why they needed to dispose of me and get rid of me. And that's why they would never serve this writ by anything. They're taking my home, taking my vehicles, there's my home and land, there's my hot tub. They're not even letting me have my hot tub. They're taking both my vehicles. This isn't legal. And 2 rental cabins. Yeah, because that's what she's doing. Because they all know what. Now, Ken passes off he's my attorney. I have no idea that Kevin and him went to probate court, stole my trust fund, used a false identity for me, deemed me now I'm deemed mentally incapacitated by her and Samantha Fleming, right? And so Ken's gonna pass this stolen trust fund over to them now, and Kevin. So my trust fund will end up at the same law firm where she's at as trustee, Jernigan Law. It will end up with her client, Kevin Alfonsi, in a fake-ass divorce case. And then they also have guardianship and conservatorship over me, too. Perfect for an estate robbery. Bye.